Hello, wonderful people of the internet. My name is Matthew. Welcome back to Matthew Talks About American Literature and More. Today, I'm going to be talking about Stephen Crane's 1895 novel, The Red Badge of Courage. This is a novel that I've read for my Great American Novel series, and I'm going to be giving you my good, mixed, and bad thoughts on it, and why you should or shouldn't read it. The Red Badge of Courage basically follows a young soldier, Henry Fleming, who enlists in the Union Army during the American Civil War, goes into battle, runs away, and after experiencing a good amount of shame, decides that he wants to return to battle, get wounded, what he coins a Red Badge of Courage, a war rune, and at the end of the novel acts as a flag bearer in a final charge against the Confederate Army. Now, to give you the good of this book, I think that the writing in this book is pretty immaculate. I would describe the descriptions in this book as almost like impressionism, like painting impressionism in word form. Stephen Crane is a great describer of things and places. The beginning of this book is incredibly powerful. While I'm not a huge fan of war literature in general, because I feel that it can be very abstract, very empty, I feel that this book does give me a good sense of scope. It gives me a good sense of place. When Henry Fleming is fleeing through areas and going through military encampments and stuff like that, I get a good sense of what's going on. I don't have to fill in the gaps with my own imagination, or I don't have to feel like I'm kind of lost in the sea of chaos and destruction. It was written in a way that it didn't feel like just a cacophony of things running out at you. It felt that you were in the middle of a mess, but you were able to clearly see everything. And finally, I think our main character, Henry Fleming, who's mostly referred to as the boy, was a decently interesting protagonist. His kind of coming of age, his maturity as he experiences war was decently entertaining and fairly well executed, and was engaging enough to sustain for about 140 pages, which is the length of this novel. Now moving on to the mixed. This may be indicative to my thoughts on war books in general, but I find that war books tend to sacrifice a lot of the interpersonal relationship with a lot of characters. You don't get this ability to make deep bonds with other characters. So I feel that no character relationship in this book, other than the reader's personal relationship with Henry Fleming and the boy, was very well developed. I felt that almost everyone in this book kind of were avatars for themselves or for themes, and that's just not how I like to read books of any kind. I need a character and the relationship with other people to mean something, even in a war where it could disappear in a moment. If I don't care about your characters and I don't care about what they mean to each other, I don't care about your book. Now moving on to the negatives. This book is for the most part hollow. The novel kind of stops before it actually starts to interrogate any of what these characters think about war in general. It's really well written technically, but in many ways Stephen Crane is a very poor writer of people. Now this may be because this novel is written in a naturalistic format, in the sense that most of the people's beliefs and actions are determined by everything that surrounds them, but in that sense almost every character feels hollow. You don't feel like there's that much internal conflict within them, or you don't feel that this comes from anything deep inside of them. And because of that, you usually don't feel as much catharsis as you probably should have. Now, this may be intentional, given the nature of the genre, but just in general, that's why reading this book, even though it's short, it took me a long while, it didn't feel inspired in any way. So in short, this book was a little bit of a letdown. It's short enough that it wasn't hard to read, and it wasn't much of a drag, but it's clearly a very dated war book. And unfortunately, Crane died at 28, and he didn't have a chance to expand on his skills, because the writing style, while it was immaculate, wasn't enough to make this book very enjoyable. So, all in all, it's worth the read. I'd give it a 3 out of 5 if you're interested in American literature. And if you like war literature, this may be right up your alley. It's a really great technical novel, but it felt more like a writing exercise than a beautiful work in itself. So all in all, hope you pick it up and hope you enjoy it more than I do. Let me know what you think of it, and hopefully you'll pick it up and you'll love it. So, hope you're having a lovely day. Hope this video finds you well, and happy reading.